Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the 2024
What
Yugioh
is your
Trading
boy
Card
Grand
Game
Yugioh?
World
We are
Championship.
back.
You are
Turn
watching
this
the
down a little
TCG
bit.
and OCG division of the World Championship, where we
It's your boy
are
Grand
just
Yugioh.
getting
We are
ready
back
to start
with round two.
I'm Drum
Round number
Kale.
2, like
I'm
Billy
here
Rick,
with
round
Billy
number 2.
and Isala, and we are ready for another exciting round of action here after that first one, and it a little prematurely, a little sooner than we would have liked.
Yeah, it was an exciting match. I mean, we're going to see some of the best players using the best cards here at the World Championship. We have one round in the books, but so many more rounds to play today. Just can't wait to see what all these duels are going to be doing throughout the tournament.
Yeah, a lot of duels have already been completed so far, but looking at the standings to this point, we have in table number 1, Mark Solis versus Kalis.
Yeah, we got a lot of good matchups. This is the Swiss round 2.
And then table 3, this is one we're going to be looking at. Ruben
get into it.
Honda versus Jose
Yep.
Santiago.
We got
Yeah,
Ruben
that's tough when you have to
versus
play
Jose.
against someone from your own region so early.
Super
in the
good matchup.
tournament.
This
I
is
think they
a
played together in
match
the
that we were
Team
denied
YCS
at
also.
WCQ, as these are the
I
two
think they won
winners
one
of the
together
World
with
Qualifying
Kamal,
Points
so
playoffs,
this is a
which
good
of course
good
means that
matchup.
they didn't play against each other. Let's meet them now.
Round 2. Let's get into it.
It is round number 2. We have our feature match here. 2 players from North America. First up, it's going to be Ruben.
Ruben look locked
He is
in,
from the
bro.
United States, and his favorite card
Ruben
was
look
one of my
locked
favorites
in.
too,
That's
Destiny
crazy.
Hero Malicious.
It's finally found its home. Unlimited.
All right.
Again, after
Shout
all
out to
these
Ruben,
years.
man.
For now.
I got 2 cards signed by Ruben.
And this
Last
is
Friday
Jose
when he was at our
Santiago
locals,
from the United
he
States.
signed my
Favorite card,
tip
Chaos Ruler, the
in my
chaotic
fountain.
magical dragon.
Shout out to Ruben, man.
I think there's a lot of people in
Player
this
at my
tournament
locals.
whose favorite
Really,
card
really
is
good
Chaos
player.
Ruler, the chaotic
And I'm
magical
super
dragon.
glad to see him
I've
here.
heard
I hope
quite a
he
lot
win the
about it
whole
from
thing,
some of the
you know.
competitors in the event this
Last year
weekend.
at the
There's certainly
NAWCQ,
more
me and
than
him,
one. I mean, it is a
we
really
played,
cool
we did
card.
our
I mean,
thing,
a lot
so
of the
congratulations to
strongest
him.
cards of all time are a lot
I
of fun
appreciate
to
you
play,
doing
and
your thing for our
Chaos
locals,
Ruler
man.
is
But
without a doubt
we need you to
one
win
of
this whole
those
thing.
cards for sure.
I wonder if players who are a fan of Chaos Ruler will pick up that grass looks greener now that it's back in the
All right,
TCG.
so they're
Ooh,
sitting
I'm
in the
thinking
chair.
they might.
Let's see what
Everyone
deck
likes
list
to
they
open the
playing,
box,
what
you
they
know,
own.
what's in the box?
Definitely, but as we said, this, as Jerome mentioned, this is going to be the matchup of the 2 players who qualified through the World's Qualifying Point Playoff. Now, in that tournament, there is a single elimination tournament with 2 separate brackets. So both
They
these
both
players
out
never
1-0.
had to face each other during that
Table
tournament.
3,
They
1-0,
both
Swiss
came in
round
first
2.
on their respective sides, but now we're going to see who is the true champion between the 2 of them.
And it really makes you wonder, like, how close are they going to stick to the decks that brought them here in the first place? Are they just going to, play the same thing and get like a true matchup? Of
I'm a
what
firm
they
believer
like
of
if they
staying with the
played
deck that
then?
got you there.
Have they revamped
I don't
their
really
strategies
switch too many on
completely for
decks,
the
but
world stage?
you know they're on the
Couple
World
things
Championship
take
level,
note of,
so
right?
they got
definitely
here for a
work
reason. So
together
let's see what
to
they
make
do.
their list going into the NAWCQ. You know, it's a little bit trickier if you're going to do the same thing going into the World Championship. There's a lot fewer players in the tournament. You're very likely to play each other, hopefully not the second round of the tournament, but it is still very likely that throughout 7 rounds, potentially even top cut, that you will have to face each other. Do you make the decks together? Do you share your secrets with someone that you're so likely to play against?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I know when we went, it was you, me, Aaron Furman was another one of our friends who also made the World Championship. We didn't necessarily work together on the decks, but when we got there, we kind of realized we all came to similar conclusions. We shared our thoughts from our practice leading up to that tournament. So maybe a little bit of that same kind of camaraderie here from these players.
Historically speaking, the North American teams have generally been pretty tight-knit.
Mm-hmm.
I like those
Definitely
jerseys this
usually
year.
the case, and
Jerseys
these
look
players
really,
I know
really
have
nice.
play tested together a lot. They are friendly with each other. They know each other well, so we're going to see how that comes into play. It's always a
Yeah, and that's
interesting
another
dynamic
aspect
when you're
of
playing
playing
against a
somebody
friend,
that you really know.
obviously
Like
wanna
you
win
might
every
know their
round,
strategy.
win every round.
And you
want
kinda
your
have to
opponent
really,
to win,
you
or
know,
your friends to win
alter
every round
that
as
a
well.
little bit.
And now they become your
When you
opponent.
play test with somebody
it's
a
a
lot.
tough spot to be in sometimes.
You're both upset
But they are
that you
homies,
could
I
be the one
believe,
to lose,
so
but you're also
it's
pretty
cool.
happy if they're the one to move forward, right? At least one of these players will move on to, well, hopefully. And technically, it's
Man,
possible
Ruben
that
look
it could
locked
not
in,
be
bro.
a winner here.
But it looks like the duelists are sitting down. They have their headsets on. A smile there from Jose as they relax as we jump into it. It's going to be round number 2, game 1 of the Yu-Gi-Oh! World
All right, game 1. Let's
Championship
get it started.
2024 here in beautiful Seattle, Washington.
Right, we're going to roll the dice here. That's a 6 from Ruben. Can't tell. Oh, it's a 1 apparently.
Don't use that die for Snipe Hunter. Ba-dum-tsh.
All right, so we got Fiendsmith
Dark
Yubel
Fiend. We
on
only
the
have
left
Light Fiend.
versus Fiendsmith
True,
Snake Eye on the right. So
Well, not this one. This is
I believe that's a
Bell.
we'll see.
Bell, yeah.
We'll see how these
So it looks like
matchups
Ruben
go.
did change
Ruben
his
is starting.
strategy from that World's Qualifying Point playoff. Yubel with, the combination of the two lists
Was one of the least
So
restricted.
he start off the track.
definitely was.
That's a
So
good
we're going
start.
to see how Ruben is going to navigate this strategy here. He is going to start with a Fiendsmith track. A little bit stronger to start with track in the TCG because they do have something like Necro-Equipped Princess, but we're going to see how he's going to be able to adapt, not having that
Bring back the
Necro-Equipped
Lurie,
Princess access
link it
here.
off.
Yeah, we did mention how it is restricted the least, but it still does have those restrictions, not necessarily from the actual
Affect
limit
the
list, but because
Requiem.
there are TCG exclusives that were so powerful to the strategy, those are not going to be allowed here in this tournament. So we'll see how Ruben has adapted probably to combos that
Get
they
the
were
Engraver on
initially
field.
trying before they found out those cards existed.
We'll have to certainly see, yeah, no access to Aerial Eater is going to be tough here for Ruben, but he is going to summon the Engraver from the graveyard, it
Normal
looks
summon
like.
a Beckoning Beast.
And then normal summon Dark Beckoning Beast, trying to add opening in the Spirit Gates from the deck to the hand, potentially.
Imperm.
That's going to get hit with an infinite impermanence. Dark Beckoning Beast is negated.
Yeah, Imperm on the Beckoning Beast is good. You won't get that additional normal summon if he does have something to summon, but he already has the Engraver on the field, so he has the two monsters. He will be able to access that extra deck, whether it's going to be Sequence. Yep, looks like Fiendsmith Sequence.
All right,
Yeah, talking
sequence
about
effect.
sequence, I like how the sequence of this plays were made.
Jose
putting
got
the Engraver on
everything,
the field,
bro.
setting it up, but
Oh,
there is
with
an
the Ash Blossom.
for the
All right, so
Phantasme
we got the Ash
here.
Blossom
Lot
for the
going on here
Phantasme.
with the main
I haven't
deck
seen Phantasme in a while, but
as well
it's
as
good
being
to
met
see,
with Ash
different
Blossom.
things pop
These
up.
duels
It is a card drawing effect.
These duelists are leaving everything on the line here. The Phantasme is going to remain in hand thanks to that Ash Blossom negating the effect, as Jerome mentioned. And now Sequence is going to be looking to activate its effect. But another copy of a card that can stop Ruben here, an Effect Veiler.
That's 3 cards out of Jose's hand at this point, but there are still plenty of plays available for Ruben. We're now activating the Engraver. Looks like he put back the Fabled Lurie into the deck, putting the Engraver back onto the field.
Oh, I might have missed out the first Engraver. Oh, the first Engraver came from the Requiem.
Yeah.
Yep, that's my bad.
Now we're going to be activating the effective track to fuse with his field. He's going to be using the Engraver as well as Sequence. Going to be still likely make. It looks like that. Yeah, that is Fiendsmith Lacrima.
Targeting Engraver.
So now he could either add back Engraver or special summon Engraver back to the field. Since he's already used Fiendsmith's track, I would imagine it will come to the field, and here it is.
Special summon or activate. Special summon.
It looks like we're using the Grave Squirmer here now because he does have a Fiend on the field. This is great now because, well, we'll see, he is going to overlay these 2 level 6 monsters into Beatrice, the Eternal Lady. Detaching the Fiendsmith Engraver, I think I know what he's going to send here. He's going to try to bridge his way into the Yubel part of his strategy.
Wasn't in the top 75%. Let's check the rest.
There is a Spirit of Yubel.
Spirit of Yubel is a really cool one.
For Muckraker.
So, yep, looks like he is going to link summon for Muckraker.
And then on the summon, I'm going to go effect.
That's going to be able to special summon
Lacrima.
back a Fiend, but first he's
All
going
right,
to use
Ruben
Lacrima's
popping
effect
off.
to put back Sequence.
Never want to forget that.
Puts you at 68. Cards
Burning for 12.
So 3 cards in hand. We know that one of them is Phantasme.
Oh, they got 3 in hand.
We talked about Phantasme
What a
previously
one-known
to this tournament, and
Phantasme.
just how powerful that card is when it is good enough to be at least main deck. But it is a huge problem when it is met with something like Ash Blossom, because not only is it not a card that you got to play to fix your hand, it is now stuck in your hand until the next turn. Ooh, it looks like we're going to be immediately shuffling back those 2 as material to fusion summon Phantom of Yubel.
Phantom of Yubel.
Phantom of Yubel is a really cool
Powerful
one.
fusion
You
card.
change any monster effect to destroy Yubel from the deck by tributing the Phantom of Yubel off the field. But now he's going to use Gruesome Grave Scormer's effect from the graveyard to special summon back Spirit of Yubel. On summon, Spirit of Yubel can add a card that mentions Yubel from the deck to the hand.
And this appears that he doesn't have any more cards in hand. So this is a really crucial point in the turn. And it goes through.
Yeah, Jose, looked like you had considered using some form of interruption there.
Better not be a monster effect, though, because that Phantom of Yubel is going to change it.
Maybe that's exactly what he wants.
Ruben's going to activate Nightmare Pain. Going to look to destroy Spirit of Yubel.
Ruben still got plays, man.
That
That's one thing about Ruben. Like, he always have a trick up his sleeve. Very
Yubel
consistent.
from the deck. That's not once per turn.
I know from playing him a lot.
This is it's a Yubel from anywhere, right?
Oh yeah, it could be anywhere. Usually from the deck on turn 1.
Matters a lot in the later turns when everything has already been exhausted.
And he does have, oh, no, yeah, we didn't know that. It is another point of interaction from the hand, and Ash Blossom enjoys Spring. But it is, as you, Jerome mentioned, a monster effect.
What a crazy hand from Jose here going second. Infinite Impermanence, Ash Blossom, Effect Veiler, and Phantasme.
It's an interesting choice here on whether or not to modify the effect of it here. Now, he is going to chain Phantom, and
Resolve. Wait, I have to destroy from my deck first. Resolve Phantom.
Oh, it looks like he was going to...
Resolve Nightmare Pain.
Yeah, Nightmare Pain was going to destroy the Muckraker.
Interesting. Well, now, yeah, he can destroy. He destroyed Spirit of Yubel from the deck with the Phantom of Yubel.
I wonder what the aim of this particular sequence was. He was never going to get it so that he couldn't destroy with Nightmare Pain. Like, that wasn't going to be the case.
Maybe he just wants the Phantom
material off.
Yeah. Maybe to protect his... At the moment, there are no interruptions of directly available, but I guess you can always make another Phantom.
See where he goes next. He is Fiend Lock thanks to that Muckraker effect being used. Yep.
Did he actually even use the Muckraker's effect? I think he just destroyed it with Nightmare Pain. So
pretty sure he used it to summon back something, but maybe not. Oh, so he could link summon here for Unchained Soul of Yama, or
looks like he's attempting to go back into it. Well,
might have just grabbed the wrong one.
Yeah,
going to go into Yama here.
Well, you could hear him
Now
say
you're going
Yama.
into the
That's
Unchained
what's
part of the
coming out
deck.
No matter what.
Unchained
The
cards are
rule
wild.
on intent for play is whatever you say trumps whatever you do. That's part of why it's important to declare your summons properly and say what you're summoning first, because that determines the materials, etc.
Good to know. And then the Yama's going to let him add the Unchained Soul Shavara.
Making another fusion.
Now he's going to be putting back a couple of materials to summon another copy of Phantom of Yubel. Ruben really showing why he brought Yubel here, the strategy, being able to play through so many points of disruption from Jose's hand and still making a formidable board here.
Ruben trying to figure out where he can go from here. He has a couple options, right? Is a question of whether or not he's going to be able to keep that Phantom of Yubel on the field, but it looks like he's going to be able to link them away. It's going to be that Unchained Soul of Rage because of the Unchained Soul.
Unchained cards have been so powerful. I remember when they were winning YCSs. Like,
they
were like low-key underrated, but then they came back on the scene and they're really, really powerful.
While the Shavara is on the field with the Rage, when it's destroyed, is going to be able to add back any Fiend, and the Yama will be able to trigger to special summon a Fiend from the graveyard. Looks like Rage is going to try to shuffle back the Phantom so that he has more of those available in the following turns.
It's a question of how many of them you play. Everybody plays at least two, but some also have a third one hiding in their extra deck.
Yeah, I imagine the extra deck is very restrictive. There's so many powerful options that you can choose from. It's really hard to fit in the third one, and it makes a lot of sense that you had to give it away right now. And it looks like he's going to be using the optional part of Yama's secondary effect. When it special summons from the grave, it doesn't have to, but it can also destroy a monster on the field, so he's going to destroy his own Shavara so that Shavara can set that...
No, I returned it to my extra deck using the Solar Rage. I special summoned Muckraker back with the Yama, and then I destroyed my Shavara during resolution, and then I triggered Shavara to set a trap.
Couldn't set it better myself.
I'm going to go effect the Muckraker.
No, you're right, he did not use the effect of Muckraker just quite yet, but he was always planning on using it later on. This is incredible here from Ruben. Like, this is, he hasn't had to really think about
he's
it.
Still
he's
playing.
been in this position
It's
before.
crazy.
He knows where to go next. This is some excellent play from one of the best players in the world.
Yeah, we talk about players that put in the effort and really shows their passion. Like, every single move was calculated here.
Losing that Phantasme seems like it's really hurt Jose here.
Yeah, especially, I mean, there's still going to be an option to potentially use it on the following turn as long as Rage activates its effect. But there still is a Phantom of Yubel now to interact with that as well. But I mean, if it has to interact with the Phantasme, that's not the worst thing in the world. It's trading one for one. It just depends on how impactful the Rage is going to be.
This is a tough position for Jose to be in. He's going to have to try and find something.
I believe he has...
Break the board.
Does he have 3 cards in hand at this point?
He has 3 cards now. We know about Phantasme.
Okay, there's the track.
Starting off the same way Ruben did with his turn, Fiendsmith's track. Can let him add a Light Fiend. Fabled Lure is usually the go-to.
Let's see if he discards anything else. Probably wouldn't.
So Jose going into his Fiend Smith side
Does
of
he
the
want
deck.
to use the Phantom of Yubel here? Nope, lets it resolve.
Playing
wouldn't
Snake
imagine
Eye,
you
so
would,
he'll
right?
get into
Nothing
it sooner
that's
or
really
later.
threatening at this point. If you're going to try to deal with any of the resources that Jose is going to put on the field later, you want to really maximize the value of hitting those cards that have a little bit more recursion value. The Lure itself is not posing that much of a threat.
Makes a lot of sense.
And there's multiple choices here for it too. Like it wasn't just the Phantom; it could also have been eaten by the Unchained Soul.
Very true.
If you couldn't tell, these two are actually some of the best of friends. They are just this tense right now.
It's a pretty looking quarter century Secret Rare Fiend Smith Engraver.
Yeah, man, them QCRs looking nice on screen.
Now
I
he's
can't
going to
lie.
equip the Requiem to Engraver.
Yeah, now you're kind of forced to do something. Otherwise, the Engraver is going to get its value trying to go after one of the opponent's monsters, but it looks like we're going to be activating the Soul of Rage, targeting the Engraver to potentially link away with it.
So this is going to give Jose a chance to use that Phantasme. Ruben might use the Phantom Yubel on the Phantasme as well, but we'll have to see how it's going to play out. So here are the pieces being taken.
Any triggers as turn player.
Now there's something to note. The rules from the TCG to the World Championship are a little bit different with certain cards.
That's you cannot. Yeah, but trigger effects would trigger first. So
Yeah,
I would
so
get a
this
chance
is
to
exactly
trigger
where I was
effects
going with
before
that.
optional.
Some of those hand effects are treated more like quick effects as opposed to trigger effects.
Well, in any case, this is Ruben's correct here that he would get to play his visible trigger effects first. So it's visible, it's mandatory first, then visible, then hidden. But here at the World Championship,
So I'll
hidden
go
trigger
for the
effects
next
are
one.
played as quick effects.
Exactly.
Looks like the Little Knight is going to be going after the Engraver here.
That's a lot of shiny cards in the graveyard.
Thinking.
All right, will Ruben choose to use the
Jose
Phantom
trying to put
Yubel
in work with that
block
Phantasme.
this Phantasme.
And Cuba.
It does seem like he will. This, I mean, Little Knight was already protected with the effect of Nightmare Pain, but now it's just, extra protected because it's going to put a potential Yubel on the field.
Now that little knight is banishing a card from the graveyard, yes?
Yes, it's going after the Fiendsmith Engraver.
And then I'll go effect of Spirit of Yubel.
Spirit Yubel, when it's destroyed, it's going to trigger to special summon.
Jose asking about the time, might be considering conceding here. He only has one playable card left in his hand.
Potentially playable, at least. No guarantees.
Potentially playable, yes. I'm maybe a little optimistic.
Well, and if it uses an effect, the little knight could just zap it off the field immediately.
It's a tough spot for sure. Enter battle phase? Enter battle phase? No, he would have done that way earlier.
But they're really just shuffling the decks here at this point. Not sure if all those cards are going to go right back in right now. Come on, man.
They shouldn't be. I'm assuming there's a draw effect being played, otherwise we wouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably has to be.
Triple tactics talent, maybe? I don't know. Nope.
Oh, no, just passing back. I guess that also makes sense.
Thinking here.
He could use that trap card, set off the Shrivara at this point.
During the
I believe it was an abominable chamber.
Yep. Yeah, it's chambered. Going to be able to revive any Unchained.
Does not.
Yeah, it can summon from hand as well.
Notably, that's why it doesn't target, because you can't target a card in hand.
Reminiscent of Red Eyes Darkness Metal.
Yep, it's the very same effect.
Oh.
Okay.
I mean, we were talking about maybe playable.
Bestial Jerusalem is the last card, unknown card from Jose's hand.
I mean, yeah, if he goes after the Rage, he still gets to summon the Shrivara, though. Yep, and it hits the field.
It's field in.
Ruben just
defense
got plays
mode.
for
I believe
days.
It has 2,000.
Yeah, I believe it's 25 too.
Stand by. Main phase one.
All right, can you deal with the Phantasme the third time?
I'll go Engraver effect. Targeting Requiem.
Right, the Engraver is going to potentially demand answers here.
5 monsters on the board here from Ruben. Only a Druid Sermon defense mode here from Jose, and we know the last card in his hand is the Fantastical Dragon Phantasme that has just been stuck there this entire game.
Wave hacking Caesar.
And that will, that'll deal with the Phantasme just fine.
Yep, and Jose has seen enough. He's not going to be able to come back here in game number 1, and Ruben is now 1-0 in this tournament, 1-0 in
All
this
right,
match.
Ruben
for
got
round
game
number
1.
two.
Let's get into the
Very
second
strong
game.
opening from Ruben there.
Ruben
Man,
definitely
Jose
know what he's
had,
doing
like,
with his
a great
cards.
hand against Snake Eye, for
Jose had a lot of
instance,
interruptions,
against
but it looked like they really
maybe
didn't
a
do
little,
nothing.
little tougher due to all the
But they
effect
did say the
shifting.
Yubel
Yeah,
deck
that
really
was
isn't hit
amazingly
much
piloted there
on this
by
list
Ruben.
right
I
here,
mean,
so
to play
we'll
around
see.
each and every one of those interruptions, those interactions, just fantastic to find a way to make an impressive board still.
Yeah, this is why I talk about sequencing with the deck like that. There's so many powerful cards, but he knew how to lead with them, right? First, you start with the Fiend Swith line. You set it up so that you have Engraver on the field so it can immediately develop itself as a body. Again, if something were to be interrupted, then you led with something like the Dark Beckoning Beast, which gives you like a plethora of different options from there. You can just branch out however you will, but you need to know how that branches out before. But you knew the Fiend Swith line was going to do the exact same thing. So you start with that, try to eat up some interruptions, kind of get a feel for what they have. But up until then, we do have some status updates for some of the matches that are still going on. It looks like Mark Solis was able to take it 2-0.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm glad that they had a
Tom,
breakdown
I'm
for
telling
every
you,
round and how the
he's-
matches are going.
He's
It's
just
pretty
feeling
good.
it today.
Got luck on his side. He's got here just by the, barely made it here, but now 2-0 in the tournament.
I'm sorry.
Really incredible to see. It looks like Neth's game is still underway. Don't know how that one is going. Anthony Lopez from the EU lost round number 2 to Don Lim.
So Michael Thomas, after taking the entire beginning of round 1 and beyond last time, finished off his opponent Julio real quick this time, 2-0.
And we do see our current NAWC champion, again, still 1-1 against Daigo here.
And that is a TCG versus OCG matchup. Still a lot of time left in the round. We're going to see if they make it to a game number 3 over
That's
there.
a good one too. The Japan Championship winner versus the NAWCQ winner.
That is a
Also
good one.
a nice one.
They both had a draw. That's interesting.
All right, looks like the players are finishing side decking and getting ready for game 2. Jose, probably happy to be going first here after that game number 1, even though he had that incredible hand. I mean, if he draws that same hand going first, not the greatest probably for Jose.
Yeah, I don't think there was a single starting play, right?
No, not that.
Well, no, he had
I
a track. He had a track. You can go.
Potentially could have been the 6th card. We never know. No, the Druid Storm was probably
Yeah,
the 6th card for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
He would have summoned. He would have used that for sure. That would have been awesome if he had 5 points of interaction from his hand going second. We have seen it before. It wouldn't be the first time, but
Four of those in a Snake Eye Ash.
that's.
all
There
you
was an
need.
Ash in there, just wasn't Snake Eye.
Not the right one.
Let's see what side deck
I
options
remember
they
right
put in.
after the release of Phantom Nightmare, I was Saul and I were playing and playtesting, and I was always just every hand I'd want.
That
3
prize
points
card looking
interaction
nice.
and 2
Super
starters, because
nice.
they're probably able to stop the first starter, want to keep going, and then I have those 3-point interactions.
Yeah, I was getting really upset because every time you didn't have that, you're like, oh, this is a bad hand. I'm like, Billy, like you can't always
I
have.
demand perfection. I always want my decks to have the best hands every time. I think who doesn't?
Just play 25. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll get there eventually. Oh man, but yeah, that's all the duels have practiced a lot leading up to this tournament. They put the time in to find their the best decks that they could, and now they have to pilot them and show people what they got. You see the focus. That's another thing when you're playing a friend. You have to not be too.
There was some nice gaming chairs too that they have.
Put
Pretty
at
nice.
ease because you know the person. You still have to be focused, make your correct plays. Have that killer instinct to finish them off. And it looks like Ruben has that. He's very focused.
Ruben is for sure locked.
He's
I've never
ready
seen
to
him
go.
this focused.
He's ready to go.
I mean, if you were to ask me like a couple months ago who I thought 2 of the best up-and-coming players were from the North America region,
These two.
it would be these 2. I would instantly say Ruben and Jose. And then when I saw them, both qualify through the qualifying point playoff, I wasn't surprised. It was almost expected. Because they've been traveling around, getting those points together to make it here. And now we are in game number 2. Unfortunately, they do have to face each other early in the tournament, but it is Swiss rounds, so they'll have more rounds to play after this as well.
Going to be leading with the Divine Temple here. Not necessarily ideal because you usually get that for free, but can help insulate your plays.
It's notable in that it's a way to get something out of your deck onto the field that doesn't meet the condition for Droll and Lockbird, which is another card that you might see a lot of in formats like this.
Yep, it's always good to be able to play around anything that you might expect for sure. And now he's going to
especially
use
summon out
5
Witch.
Elstar Black Witch, sending that part of the graveyard to special summon from the hand.
Everybody's surprised Diabellstar didn't get hit on the TCG list, but she's still
A lot
around.
of good value here. Opting to not use Papa. The Ghostlit.
Ghost
Moonlit
Mourner and
Chill.
Moonlit Chill coming down. It's going to negate the effect of the Black Witch.
I mean, that is the most effective target for it, right?
It is. It even
but
does
this
the
makes
most
sense.
damage, too.
Chain Bailey.
Oh.
It's Ghost Spell and Oak.
Ruben has
I
an
mean,
answer.
it's a
every
fair
which way he
trade right
looks.
after game 1.
This is what it's all about. I love the interaction.
Not
A
going
lot
to
of
be able to
hand
use
traps
Oak's effect
on
here
both
as well, because
sides
it was something that negates the
for the
entire
going second
effect of
players.
Oak. So he will not be able to access his deck with the other effect. At least for now, until he's able to reset it.
Yeah, negating the monster's effect for the rest of the turn. Great against the Snake Eye cards, as opposed to just negating the first half of the effect, and they'd still be able to use the second one.
This is a bit of a tough situation because the inclination is, okay, I need to pivot into something else here, but also I'm going to take a big chunk of damage if I do that.
I don't think he's that worried about that. He still has 2 monsters on the field, and we saw what 2 monsters can do at this point. Sometimes you just have to take the damage to, you know, get the remainder of your field.
But you still take the damage.
Looks like he has something to extend. Oh, well, it's going to be a
Pot of Prosperity.
Parity. Okay.
That's not a card you see a lot of
Yeah,
times.
it's pretty
with Snake
rare.
Eye.
And it's limited in this event as well.
I mean, if it's limited, it's got to be good.
Not the worst logic I've ever heard.
I mean, if you think about it this way, if
Usually
there's
goes in
only
that other fire deck, though.
yeah, if there's only 1 Pot of Prosperity in your deck, that means you can't get another Pot of Prosperity revealed off the top 6. It's as consistent as it can be.
Exactly. So he looks like he is going for 6, I believe.
It's Flamberge. Oh, it's Droll and Lockbird. Yeah.
Okay,
Ooh,
Lullaby.
Ah.
Lullaby Obedience is a really cool card.
Hmm.
We've seen it at the World Championships in the past.
What are you going to use that for against? Oh, you use it for the Fiendsmith.
Yeah, it has to be.
Engraver's fine on the field or in the hand.
Took the bonfire.
But it looked like he grabbed Bonfire there.
Which is a little interesting. I guess you can go for Poplar still, which is actually really strong here because you actually haven't used any of its effects now that I realized.
That's right. And now Poplar is on the field. Going to add one of those other cards that we saw off the top 6, the original Sinful Spoils Snake Eye.
What cards did Jose have to give up out of his extra deck? 6 cards out of the Fiendsmith Snake Eye extra deck? That's a lot.
It is
Yeah,
a lot.
that is. I didn't. Like, I guess we'll find out.
Generally, I can only think of 3 that I would be willing to give up in any given situation.
So he does link summon Moonlit Close Heaven, leaving the Black Witch on the field, avoiding taking the damage if he can.
Yeah,
The
going
Poplar's
into the
gonna place
little
Snake Eye Oak into the spell and trap zone.
little
Maybe he
underworld
has
goddess
a
is crazy. Just
greater
2
plan
monsters.
for
That's
that
crazy.
particular Diabellstar.
You just go into the
I don't
combo
mind
from
leaving
there.
it just on my field, because during your opponent's turn, if it does leave the field, you can send
bring
a
it
card
back,
to
right.
special summon it back to the
Summon
field.
Engraver.
You rarely see that effect a lot of the times, but you know sometimes it'll just pop up on Master Duel.
I was
and
literally.
you'll catch somebody with it, and they'll just scoop immediately.
I was
afterwards.
about to use words out of my mouth. I was saying it doesn't come up too much in the TCG, but in Master Duel for some reason it seems to happen more frequently.
Yep.
Might be that insect or something that causes that.
You know, another card that had a similar effect was Eluber.
Oh,
The effect to bring back Eluber when a fusion goes away.
Fiendsmith sequence.
that is definitely something a lot of people overlook with the Eluber. When you're clearing all those fusions off the field, and all of a sudden it comes back and negates your monster effect. Like, oh no, where did that come from? But okay, Fiendsmith's sequence is going to shuffle back a couple of light fiend monsters to summon Fiendsmith's Lacrima.
Yeah, he did have to take that 2,500 from linking away the Diabellstar.
So Lacrima gives you the choice here. You can either add that back to hand or special summon it. If you special summon it, you get a rank 6. If you add it back to hand, you can potentially discard it later to get the Spell and Trap adding effect, or use it from hand as a fusion material later on with Track's Graveyard effect.
Okay,
Alright.
so he does add it back, and he used Track. Oh no, that was last game.
Yeah,
That was
yeah, that
Track.
last game.
Okay, I was like,
So we haven't seen the Tracked yet.
I thought it was maybe
There
he
goes the
sided in
track.
Fiendsmith in Paradise. I would have loved to see that. That's one of my favorite traps.
I wonder, like, if you haven't used the hand effect, if there's ever a reason to not grab it back. Maybe just to play around a potential Ash Blossom that would be saved for this juncture in the play, but I don't even think that would be that
if
bad.
you specifically
Track
need
effect.
the rank 6 to stop something.
Yeah.
Like if you had to make Wave King for some reason.
So they're going to be using the tract here, getting the Lurie, discarding the Lurie. Lurie's going to be able to hit the field off of its own effect when it's discarded.
I think he needed a third Fiend, right, to get to Desiree here.
He does.
Because he had to shuffle back the rest.
Does indeed. Now we're going to see Link Summon for IP Masquerena.
Using Lacrima's effect here, shuffling back the Lurie. Making up for some of that difference here after taking the 25 of his own. And then he's going to be able to link away the IP Masquerena as well as the Fiendsmith Sequence into a Appaloosa Boa the Goddess with 2 uses.
All right, so now...
Yeah, that Appaloosa being in this format, it's definitely a remembrance of last format for the TCG.
So that
Appaloosa is super OP.
was made with an IP Masquerena. It's just something to keep in mind, just in case.
And now finally going to be activating that original that was added off the Poplar many sequences ago.
And he sends Sequence to the graveyard.
I also want to say sequence, so sequence. Just kidding. But looks like Snake Eye Ash is going to make an appearance.
Sure you're not using a split?
Jose, maybe skipping the Snake Eye Ash effect.
I don't even think he has like many targets left in his deck, right? We'll find out.
I think it's the 3rd Poplar.
Is it the 3rd Poplar?
Yeah, I think that's all of them. There are a lot of Poplars going around here.
Wow.
I mean, I feel like if he's playing Pot of Prosperity to help the consistency, playing 3 Poplars is not a bad idea.
This is that efficiency I talk about.
All
From
right,
the
IP in the
TCG.
back row.
Trying to get
Flame
them,
Burge
like,
in
trying to
defense.
just make sure you can do that, especially with these 1-card combo kind of scenarios. You just want to find the 1 card.
Moon of the Closed Heaven makes another appearance.
The
Flame Bird is going to summon back a couple of Snake Eye monsters.
Just a few. Now we're going to be linking away. Looks like the Oak and the Closed Heaven will be going into that Promethean Princess. Princess is going to be activating its effect, summoning back the Flamebird's Dragon. We're linking away the Poplar and the
Into the
Princess
Nightmare
into
Phoenix.
the Nightmare Phoenix while being a fire that is required.
And it's co-linked with the Appaloosa, so you won't be able to destroy the Appaloosa by battle. Nice little bonus there.
It is a strong field just being hit with 2 interruptions. Both these players really strong at playing their decks. They know what they have to do. They've hit with these kind of restrictions before. Able to make nearly a full field through, oh, well.
Okay,
Hold
so
on.
he has the Nibiru.
Hold on, but we still have Appaloosa there on the field.
Oh, I mean, he had so many things to pair with it. He didn't expect him to be able to get this far.
Yeah, like if you still have that effect failure there to force it through, that'd be huge.
I mean, Ruben probably making the decision in testing. You don't really want to allow them to get that far ahead. They can usually play through anything anyway.
Ooh, and then he has different dimension ground.
DDG.
Yeah, it has a little bit more utility with, cards like Beatrice around, finding ways to be able to use it. With Angel of Blue Tears is something, a strategy we've seen a lot of people use at the NAWCQ.
The Engraver not going to be that impactful after the different dimension ground. You're already losing
Right,
its value
track.
by not being able to hit the graveyard. The tract not going to be able to add anything
A
of
lot
value
of Apple
either,
putting in work.
but we're going to be activating it anyway. At least the track is to go to the graveyard.
Yeah, that's a good point. The different dimension ground is only monsters, not as strong, I guess, as Dimension Shifter.
But it also doesn't have the weaknesses of Dimension Shifter either.
Yeah, you're able to draw it and just use it no matter how many cards are in either player's graveyards for sure.
It looks like he will be discarding that Nibiru that he was known as locked in his hand. We are normal summoning.
I do like DD Worry Later still kind of gets to make it an appearance at the World Championship this
Right.
many years later, even if it's just in the artwork of the card.
You can always print more cards with the artwork in there.
Summon Requiem.
I'll have to reach out to Pegasus and see what he can do for us.
Pegasus, that's crazy.
So, Requiem coming to the field, going to
That's
the
going to
Banish
get
Zone.
stopped. Like, I don't think that's resolving.
He does only have the one Appaloosa negate since he forced out the Nibiru, but Ruben only with one other card in hand besides Nibiru, the Primal Being.
Yep, and now using the Flame Burge here
Bringing
just
that
to get
IP
ready,
out.
right? I imagine the Flame Burge as well as
Talents, wow.
Well, that is a powerful
That
card.
changes
Okay,
things.
this is so we're talking about the rule changes. Triple Tactics Talent versus IP Masquerena kind of works a little bit differently. So that if he does use IP Masquerena to summon a monster with an effect that triggers on summon, and Ruben takes it, Ruben will be the one to be able to use that effect here this weekend.
Yeah, that's how it works on Master Duel.
Yep.
So Master Duel follows the same rule set for the World Championship.
I feel like that means that Jose has to just let it happen. He just let him take whatever he wants.
It looks
Phoenix.
so he's gonna take Nightmare Phoenix.
I mean, his normal summon's already been used. He's still under like different dimension ground.
That's interesting placement for the Nightmare Phoenix. One thing I would think about there is putting it so it's co-linked to the Appaloosa still,
From Sleep the main phase.
and see if you can maybe create an avenue to just deal a ton of damage through one indestructible.
I think Nightmare
Appaloosa.
Phoenix only protects your monsters from being
Is it only
destroyed.
your
Yeah.
monsters?
But we do see IP
IP
Masquerena
effect.
being used now. Jose does know that Ruben has Nibiru the Primal being in his hand, so he's leaving that Flame Burge on the field, not wanting to summon too many times.
It was discarded for the effect of Fiend's Betract.
Oh, okay.
So there could be another one. I think he just wants to preserve his own Flame
Alright,
Burge
Ruben
because
to
he doesn't want it
concede,
to be
so
banished.
it's
Oh,
Up
it was
1-1.
discarded. Oh, no, it was okay.
Yeah.
But either way, Ruben is out of plays and out of luck here in game number
Alright,
2.
it's this game
And we
3.
are
Players
moving
gotta
to
lock
game
in.
number 3 in our second round.
Lock in
feature
to win
match.
this round 2.
So
Let's see how it
notables so
goes.
far in our feature taking a 2-0 sweep. Both players doing their best to find a way to at least push it to a game number 3. Because I mean, these are the best players in the world here competing at the World Championship.
Yeah, I was going to make this argument after game 1 that a lot of players had decided that Yubel was actually the stronger deck going first because it could play through those interruptions just slightly better. But Snake Eyes can do pretty much just as well. I mean, given it was far less interruptions at this point, but they were relevant ones. Given if Ruben
14
had
minutes left. Let's see
potentially
what these
held
players
something to
got,
pair with
bro.
the Nibiru, but you don't really
It's
want to
1-1,
let Snake Eyes develop that
TCG.
much. You have to take
Ruben
some
versus
gambles,
Jose.
right?
Let's
Maybe
see who
you
pulls
hope
it out.
that those will be enough to stop the entire play, and unfortunately Jose just had the extenders to really push through to really invalidate the Nibiru, but I don't think it was wrong of Ruben to have made that choice.
I mean, it's tough, yeah. When you see that effect negation with like something like a Valor and a Nibiru in your hand, there is a temptation to just wait. Wait and pair them together later on in the turn, but it didn't work out that way there for Ruben. As you mentioned, yeah, having the extenders and be able to continue to push past the plays there. I mean, that's what we saw in game 1 and game 2 from both players now.
It's interesting that we saw the Phantasmes in the main deck there. I wonder how much of that is, well, I mean, the Snake Eye deck plays a lot of Link monsters too, or if it was in response
But yeah,
to...
they definitely
you know,
going at
expecting
it.
Yubel to
And it's
possess
looking
it,
like
but
whoever
also
goes first
playing it.
is building a
Speaking
very,
of
very
playing,
strong board.
let's take a look
Especially
at
with
some
Apple
more
being
watch
legal in
parties
this
that are
format.
going
It's
on
crazy.
around the country and the continent right now.
Yeah, these players just playing at their local store. You see them, they're sitting in chairs, watching along, enjoying the show. You know, it's awesome to see you guys at your store. I mean, I hope y'all are out there having a great time, also being a part of this World Championship from home. And you can see they're just right there in the background of the feature match stage. They also have those opportunities to win that awesome World's Championship envelope for 2024 containing the Quarter Century Secret Rare Doom Caliber Knight, which I really, really want one, and Quarter Century Secret Rare Swords Revealing Light. I know, Jerome, you're a big Mimighoul fan.
I am a big Mimighoul fan. I'm always looking for ways to flip them up.
Well, if you're taking the Doom Count, if he's taking the swords, which one do I get?
Sorry, Asala.
Get the envelope.
Oh, okay.
You get the envelope.
It's a real nice
Why they be
envelope.
trying to solo, man? That's
Nothing
crazy.
changes. Some things always stay the same. Just kidding. We'll see what we can do for you, Asala.
Yeah, man,
You
Ruben
can just
locked
take the
in, man. I
Master
hope he
Duels.
get
How
this.
about that?
Oh, I'll take it, I'll take it. You know what? I'll find concession.
Just kidding. But it looks like our players are side deck shuffled up. Looks like we have around 12 minutes on the clock going here into game number 3. You know, it's tough. Jose, it's hard to ask for a different kind of hand than the one he had in game number 1. Maybe he's hoping Ruben doesn't draw as well and he can have that same amount of like interactions from the hand, but we're going to see how it's going to play out here in our final game of round number 2.
You know, I really like having the watch parties up on the wall there.
That's really
It's nice
cool.
having like a little crowd pumped in.
Yeah, and it looks like you see some
Yeah,
of them
it's
were just
very
there to
intense.
watch
Look
the
how
show.
locked
Other
in that
scores
world
were the
stage is. Like,
mid-tournament
players
probably,
quiet,
but
focused.
let's
They
go
ready to
ahead
get the
and
game
jump
started.
into it.
All right, we
It's
starting game
going
3.
to be game number 3.
Let's go.
Oh, good luck. Go ahead. I'll start.
Fist bumps before, saying good luck. Great sportsmanship between the players.
Ooh, I do see some powerful cards here. Let's see how this game takes off. Ruben entering his main phase here. Activating, opening the Spirit Gates.
Starting opening the Spirit Gates.
One of the strongest cards in the Yubel strategy.
And it's going to resolve successfully.
Not only gives you access to Dark Beckoning Beast, which can get you Chaos Summoning Beast potentially, give you more monsters onto the field. It has the effect to where you can discard a special and back a Fiend with 0/0 stat line.
Honestly, the first effect, even though that's generally the main effect of this card, feels like an afterthought with this one. It's being able to summon that monster back from the graveyard.
Now we know that Jose is playing
Almost
Draw
summon
Longer.
effect.
We saw it off the top of the deck with Pot of Prosperity last turn. So that's something you really got to watch out for with the Yubel deck. If you get hit by it at the wrong point, you could be in for some pain.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Droll and Lockbird because when it's good, it's really
Effect
good.
Veiler.
But it looks like he is going to use Effect Veiler here, hoping Ruben doesn't have another way to extend onto the field from the hand.
Oh,
Nightmare
he's got
Throne!
Nightmare Throne, that's crazy.
You can't really ask for a better hand of this.
No, you cannot.
Yeah, that is a 1-2 punch there. Nightmare Throne and opening the Spirit Gates. Nightmare
you look
Throne's
at
going to let
that?
him destroy Spirit Yubel from the deck right away.
Did you know that that's a Fiend monster with 0/0 attack?
Indeed I did. Indeed I did. But now it looks like no response to Spirit Yubel summoning from the deck.
Anything on summon.
The Yubel has hit the field here.
As strong as Nightmare Throne is, like most of the time we've been watching feature matches for Yubel like in the past few tournaments, they almost never draw Nightmare Throne. So to have to see in your opening hand going first game 3, huge here for Ruben.
I
All
was
right,
going
you
to
getting
say
into the
something.
Unchained part of the deck.
So good. And a Link summon here
There's
for
a Phantasme. One more time.
Phantasme again, that's
Jose,
crazy.
not short of those card interactions from hand,
Oh,
but no Ash Blossom this time. The
he's hitting.
Phantasme is going to touch down.
This time, it will resolve. It will
Draw
not
2
have its effect
and put 1
changed.
back.
And Jose gets to draw 2 cards. 1 for the Link monster plus 1. And he'll have to send 1 back.
Potentially drawing to some more interactions from the hands that will be useful here.
Also lets you put back cards that you need to get out of your deck later.
Very true.
Jose was
I believe
really...
that's the quarter century secret rare Phantasme
Looks like to me.
out of Rarity Collection 2.
I may go back in my deck, sorry. We don't need to randomize mine.
Yeah, because that is the alternative art for it.
Anything in open game state?
So Yama did add Unchained Soul of Shavara.
There's a drone
Oh,
locker.
and he did
Draw.
have it.
Or he drew it off the Phantasme potentially.
Have no response.
Is it too late? Is it too little too late for the draw, or will it be enough to hold off Ruben's advances here?
Phantom of Yubel shuffling back.
Yeah, this puts him in a bit of a position here. Obviously, you want to summon the Phantom of Yubel. Just make sure you insulate yourself from any more monster effects from Jose. And you still have access. Oh, powerful discard.
Literally, that's crazy.
I'll go Spirit 1, Lurie 2.
We've seen 3 interruptions from Jose already, and it just doesn't feel like they're
Yeah.
going to do nearly
No,
enough.
no Spirit, right?
Spirit can still set.
Oh, that's right. It does set from the deck as well. I forgot. Yeah.
The Nightmare Pain doesn't really have a whole lot of value at this point, but just being able to put it on the field is
Why not?
usually good enough. It does have a relevant effect besides the effect that you activate.
Yeah, that's something you don't want to overlook, being able to force your opponent into the battle phase where they must attack you, Bell.
So that is both the destruction effect used and the on-summon effect used. I'd love to see it if Jose could figure out a way to attack on his opponent's own first turn, but I don't think we're going to see the other effect, the Spirit of Yubel.
I'll use the effect of Requiem.
Requiem
Yeah,
is
man,
going to be
Ruben
able to
definitely
activate
building the
Resolve
board right here.
Special summoning Fiendsmith Engraver.
I'll go effective Requiem targeting Graven.
Oh, and this is probably powerful here. He's going to be able to potentially force out the Phantasme and maybe get a card out of Jose's hand.
Yeah, depending on his hand, he might just let it go, but if there's something he doesn't really need in his hand, he could just send it to the graveyard.
Yep, it's going to be getting rid of the Engraver. This will likely mean that... Oh, yeah, well, no, he's just going to let it happen. He doesn't feel the need to use the Phantom of Yubel here. Ruben deciding he did not need that body for any part of his play. He's going to be linking away with the Spirit of Yubel as well as the Unchained Soul Lord Ayama into Unchained Soul of Rage.
Good here.
Phantom Yubel protecting Ruben from monster effects.
Okay, Shavara.
We see that same play we saw in game number 1 with Shavara is going to destroy the Soul of Rage. The Soul of Rage is going to add something back from the graveyard, and the Yama can summon back the Soul of Rage and potentially take out the Shavara if he doesn't want to be locked into Fiends.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to need the body for anything at this point. I think if he can, you know, threaten another level 6 body, it would be worth keeping it around.
There we go. Effect Solar Rage, targeting Spirit. And I'm going to go effect of Yama.
Yeah, this all seems really powerful here. Be adding the Spirit back so you have it along with the Nightmare Pain.
For sequence.
And Spirit Evil has that in-hand effect as well, reminiscent of Spirit of Neos. There has a little bit of protection if your opponent tries to attack you. So good to add that one back.
Ruben
for Soul
going
Rage
off,
to be
man.
used later on. Getting that Abominable.
Yep. It is a Nightmare Pain.
That was set this turn, so it's still fair game to ask.
Ruben refusing to flip it up, just leaving it set for the remainder.
I'll go effect for sequence.
Does Jose have something to stop sequence? Nope. Looks like it's going to resolve, be able to shuffle back materials.
Got
Think about
almost
Fiends
5
with
minutes
sequence.
left
You
on
can
the
summon
clock.
any fusion monster, so keep that in mind. Stuff like the new Infernoid Evil is a really cool one. I like to summon off sequence.
Effect to bring back.
Gotta use Fiends, though.
Or Fiends, yeah. Not just, I mean not just Fiendsmith fusions, yes.
So now the Lacrima has used its effect, summon back the Engraver, 2 level 6 bodies on the field if he so chooses, but also plenty of link material depending. A lot of options in the extra deck with these kind of bodies on the field.
I'm going to link summon Recipe of Little Knight.
Looks like we're going to prioritize getting rid of that Phantasme right now.
Banishing the Phantasme.
Now, remind me, have we
Definitely
used the effect of
getting rid of
Engraver
the
to
body.
summon itself from the graveyard yet?
I think so, but no, we will have to see. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure. It's been a long turn.
Engraver.
Nope, looks like
yeah,
not yet.
I didn't think so, because
Yeah, I was gonna say he still needs a second level 6, so I assume he's holding it back for that.
the only interesting thing about this, because you have used...
In the Nibiru.
Now the Phantom's still there. Jose's gonna need something to deal with that
Gotta
Phantom.
use the Phantom. Come on.
He only has
Not
one
gonna
more
let that
card in his
resolve.
hand.
I mean,
Well, it's up to activate Phantom. Pretty cost.
what could you... There's no card that can interact with Phantom there, right?
Nope, doesn't
You would
look
have
like
to
it.
use Infinite Impermanence prior.
Yeah. Yeah, you would have.
This at least forces Ruben to make another one.
Time is winding down. Jose only sitting on a Nibiru and one other card.
Oh, and there's the Nightmare Pain. Finally
Nightmare
flipped.
Pain.
These 2 level 6s are going to be used for an Xyz summon here. It is the Wave King
Xyz.
High Caesar.
For the
Does
High
Yubel gonna
Caesar.
have to destroy the Little Knight during the end phase?
Shuffle back.
Or is
Got a
this
lot
gonna
of
destroy itself?
interactions.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know, that's a much more reasonable choice.
Alright, make another Phantom of Yubel.
Enough to randomize my deck.
Interesting decision to go for Caesar here.
So
Looks like
Caesar,
Ruben's
Phantom,
wanting to
Little Knight.
win, you know, legitimately.
You can detach for Caesar and that's fine. Like, but
True.
I think there's like also plenty of time and there's enough to worry about.
Nibiru and an unknown.
I think it's
He's
one
got
of the things-
essentially 4 disruptions to 3 cards here.
And one of the cards being Nibiru, too. Yep.
Okay, he's just
3 minutes
conceding.
left, and Jose concedes.
And Jose, unfortunate there for
Alright,
him.
Ruben
but
take this
Ruben
game. This
taking
is
a commanding
game
win
round
in
2,
one and
game 3.
walking away
Ruben
with the
won.
round
So
2
it's 2
victory, and,
TCG
you know,
players matching up
played
against each other.
flawlessly,
The
it
YCS
feels like, from
team
both sides. We've
members.
seen
So
just- I mean, this is what you
Ruben
expect
took this.
after World
This is
Championship.
iGrind
There's
Yugioh. Make sure you
excellent
like,
players
comment,
doing
subscribe, share
excellent
the
plays,
videos. This is
and
World
that is what
Championship
we've
of
gotten
Yu-Gi-Oh!
rounds so far.
2024.
Almost no mistakes
We are
being made at
previewing
any
the
point
videos.
in
Make sure you
this
share this
tournament
with your
so
friends.
far.
We're
It's
on the
just
road to
players
1,000
playing it out,
subscribers. I love y'all. So
executing
make sure you
everything
like,
they
comment,
can
subscribe.
to